If you're in a place where you can pick up things from your own backyard, from your own garden, that's wealth.
That's one of your values. Like, I want to be near water. Now I have the privilege of having my own fruits and plants that surround me. That's wealth for me. So being clear with what is wealth or what's your value, I think that changes us. So building a new business on your own, how has that journey been for you?
Oh my God, it's been super exciting, and it gives you like a jolt of energy that you have to get up every day and do certain things that can contribute to the success of the company. And also there's lots of anxieties, and you question yourself, and every single day is a new day, and you also have to be super patient and motivated, things that I would say test you when building your own brand and your own business.
Welcome to the Space Whispering Podcast with Rainy. Today we have Ingrid Aquino joining us from Las Terrenas, Samana, Dominican Republic. Join us today to talk about life living as a multicultural person. Both lived in two different countries with two different languages, with two different backgrounds. How we have rejected that, and then how we have accepted it as our strength. I think it's very powerful. It's very beautiful. It gives you so much opportunities, and you see the world very differently. Let's grow this soulful community. Leave a review and share this episode with your people. Let's see what creation whispers to you through us today. Thank you for joining us. Hola, Ingrid.
Hola, ¿cómo estás, Rainy?
I am good. I'm happy you're here.
I am happy as well.
Happy you're joining me. And so I want people to know who you are. So what you do today, and then maybe talk a little bit about your past, your background.
Okay, who I am.
Who are you?
Number
What are
one,
you?
what am I? I am many different things. Well, my name is Ingrid, and I now live in the Dominican Republic. I guess American. Dominican first, because I was born here and I lived here for 10 years. And then I moved to the United States and I lived there ever since. And then I moved back about 3.5 years ago. And what's the next question?
Congrats on moving
Thank you.
back. What took
Yes.
you? What took you there? What decision made you want to move to the Dominican Republic?
Well, I wanted to move here a while ago and I was planning for it. But then when the time came, I was like, no, I'm never leaving the United States. And then I was like, again, changed my mind and I went country shopping. So I fell in love with Barcelona. So I was thinking about maybe moving there. And then I also fell in love with Cape Town, South Africa. And I was like, maybe I'll move to South Africa. But then I calculated the numbers in terms of like how far it is from New Jersey and New York. And then I was like, I don't think I want to make that move. And then COVID hit, and after that, I was like, oh, I need to move somewhere where I can go to a beautiful beach. And if I'm gonna be miserable, I might as well be miserable looking at palm trees and turquoise water. So then I went to South Florida and I went home shopping there. And I was like, this is not really aligned with me. And then I came from vacation to the Dominican Republic and I was like, this is where I need to be. And, it's my people. And then Las Terrenas called me because there are people from all over living here and including the United States. So I felt more comfortable having the diversity and also talking to people from the US and the locals from here.
Yeah, it's incredible how Las Terrenas has this like very mixed culture, and also the locals are very present as well. So you have like both sides, and then you have the wildness of nature.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. Being able to have diversity and also enjoy the roots of my country.
Yeah, when I was there, I realized how little I knew about like the country itself and like its culture. And because I lived in Santo Domingo and the US, but it was very protected. I felt like very protected in a way. Like I would go outside of Santo Domingo, but it would be for vacation. So it wasn't really like immersing into like other parts. Or, you know, based on where my family was, I would go back and spend some time there. But to really live in a city or a town, it's very different.
Yes, the same for me. I mean, I will always go to Santo Domingo because I'm from Santo Domingo. And then I would visit other parts of the country, but it was just only for like 3 days or 5 days, and then I would come back to Santo Domingo. So I really didn't get immersed into the culture and how different some other cities and towns are from Santo Domingo itself. Coming to Las Terrenas feels like a country on its own. Going to certain places in Las Terrenas, I'm like, am I in the Dominican Republic? I feel like I'm in a different country within like different mountains and different beaches. So it's amazing.
Yeah, and it varies from like Playa Bonita to each beach has its own vibe and its own like people and kind of like its own culture within that small town. But what brought you to the US? Because you lived more time in the US than Dominican Republic, right?
Absolutely. My mom brought me there, my mom and my stepfather. And it was definitely a culture shock for me when I first moved. Because, you know, like in New Jersey, where I grew up, you don't just like, you don't have the same relationship with the neighbors as you do here. 'Cause over there, everything, you know, it's closed in the winter and in the summer as well, because you're like in air conditioned. And then when you go play outside, you know, you start getting to know people like every summer because it's different. So for me, it was kind of hard in the beginning going from just being open and knowing everybody in your neighborhood. And it's just like having like a family, like the neighborhood is your family, to going into a neighborhood in New Jersey and then you feel like, you know, kind of like alone. You only have like one friend or two friends, and the other friends, they live in different parts of the city or outside the city. So for me, that was definitely something that was kind of, it was, I would say, like a little depressing. Or I would say a lot because I was like, oh, I can't go play and run around like I used to.
Yeah, that is a culture shock because when I grew up in the Dominican Republic, it's so different than what it is today as well. Because I remember playing outside all the time and feeling safe. I didn't feel unsafe, at least where I lived or how I moved as a child there. But I also lived between two. So in a way, I never felt like from there nor here. It's kind of disorienting. It's kind of disorienting when you move to a different country.
Yeah, it is. And you know, the interesting thing is like coming back, I felt like oh shoot, I always thought like I'm so Dominican. And then I'm like in the Dominican Republic, and now I'm like so American. And then everybody looks at me as like, oh yeah, American. She's American, you know, and like the locals are like, oh, it's like they call me gringa even though I'm black, which is the most hilarious thing. I was like, no, no, no.
I'm Dominican. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I remember someone asked me where you were from, and I was like, I think she's Dominican, but I'm not sure. But for sure, American. I know she's American for sure.
Yeah, American with an accent. Usually it's like, oh, she's American, but she may be like from England or Jamaican or Trinidad. I'm like, because my accent is so different from, you know, what I would say like American Dominican person usually.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And that's what I love about different cultures and like living in different countries because at the end, you are who you are based on your experience, not where you're from or your culture. But your culture if you were immersed in it. But if you weren't, then you're like, okay, yeah, I was born in this country, but in reality, my early years I was raised here. I feel a certain identity based on this. Or you just no identity regarding like location and stuff. But people feel more comfortable when you are from some place or you're like because it's like a thing, you know, you put people into a certain category and kind of it helps you understand who they are. So that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is definitely interesting. I love
And
it.
Yeah, I love it too. I love it too. Sometimes it's kind of hard to explain it to other people. It's like, I really don't belong here or belong there, or like, and some people don't really understand that. But now I'm like, I don't even try to explain it. And then recently I learned this term. It's like a third kid culture or something like that. It's like when kids just grew up in different cultures, and so they call it that. It's like interesting. So there is a name for it.
And for us, it's even more interesting because, you lived in New York and, well, I lived in Jersey, but it was like almost living in New York. I was like right there. And then I worked in New York for so long. So you come across so many different cultures. And like I grew up around Colombians, Middle Eastern people from different countries there, African, Haitian, Europeans, like Russians, Italians, Jewish people, and learn so much from all these. I didn't even have to travel outside of the area to learn about the culture, especially that I've worked for international firms, always with people from everywhere. So it becomes like kind of like part of your identity that you are well rounded in different cultures and beliefs as well.
Yeah, and talking about that, how was it being raised with your name, like Ingrid? Was it Ingrid? Was it hard, or what was the experience?
No, for me, my name, I always loved it. I thought it was simple, short. People got it. Well, some people, because I had some like Indian people call me Ingrid or Ingi. And I was like, what? You can't pronounce my name? That's so weird. Inga. And I'm like, why are you screwing up my name that is so simple to pronounce? But for the most part, I thought my name was great because it was short to the point. But then the funny thing about my name is that, I worked in sales for so long. Well, still work in sales. But people that didn't know me and I would just call, they would think I'm a blonde hair, blue eyes, set up a meeting and then show up in the meeting. And they would be like shocked, like, oh, you're not blonde and obviously, you're black. Like, how do you come up with that? How did your parents come up with that name? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, like, comes back to Dominican Republic and having such a European influence with your names.
I didn't know Ingrid was a European name, actually.
Well, Ingrid Berman. If you look her up, she is. I guess she was a movie star from. If it was Sweden or I don't remember the country, but it was one of those you know
Yeah, it's
countries
Sweden.
in Europe.
Yeah, yeah, Sweden. So it means fair or Ing's beauty or beauty.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a name called Ing and the word Fior.
Oh.
Ing refers to the North god of fertility and the earth, and Friar means beloved or beautiful. That makes so much sense, don't you think? Like, you are, like sales, so you have a certain persona that you have to pursue, which is like, here it's like the old North name, and like a North god of fertility and earth, and then beloved and beautiful. Wow. I feel like,
I think I've read something about that a while ago, but I actually kind of forgot what it means.
so it's a Nordic name, I guess. It comes from, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's a very Nordic name. So most people in the United States that are, Caucasian, they would just say, they would just they didn't expect, especially that I have an accent that was like not Dominican and not from like a certain area. Like they were confused. They were like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna be blonde hair, blue eyes." And I would be
Wow.
like, "Why? Why would you ever think that?" But I guess that helped me in a way, like
Yeah.
book many meetings.
Yeah. And so talking about those meetings, what's like your career trajectory? Like how, and all the way to now?
What do you mean career trajectory? I don't think I heard you right.
Yeah, I know, like career choice. Like, you were in sales. Like, what took you to sales? Like, what is your background in career? And then what brought you to today, to what you do today? Because we haven't talked about that yet.
Oh, wow. What brought me to sales is obviously money.
Money.
I thought it was the easiest way to make money without becoming a judge or something like that, without becoming like a doctor, you know? I was like, huh, I could make just like as much as a lawyer, as much as a doctor by doing sales.
Very
But
smart
actually,
woman.
it's a longer story than that. I had several positions that were just like a set pay, and then I was working for Nordstrom, which is like I don't know if it still is a luxury department store, but back then was more luxury than it is now. And mostly you get paid on commission, otherwise you get a drawback. And then I was working like 20 hours back then a week and making thousands of dollars based on commission. And I was like, whoa, I was like a young girl in college and making more money than all of my friends. And I was like, yeah, I think sales is it. But when that position ended, I took on other positions in an office, like a secretary, administrative assistant, because I wanted to like learn about a real career and just incorporate those things and also keep studying. I didn't want to quit school to pursue just all sales. Some of my friends did that, but I just continued doing other things and learning about like office management.
Yeah. And that helps when you know the background of how a company works and like how a leader or a boss manages the people around them. That helps you because a lot of the time we learn more by observing other people than by actually like reading or watching a video, but it's more of like our surroundings. So that makes sense that you were attracted to doing that.
Well, I was also studying law because I wanted to become an attorney. And I studied law for 2 years. And then I wanted to transfer to law school. So I went but in the meantime, I was doing sales and had different jobs, held different jobs. And I loved the idea of becoming an attorney. I was like obsessed with it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be this badass that is gonna just take the world by storm, and I'm gonna show them. And then like it got difficult for me because I had to hold. I was working full time and to study full time at law school. I mean, I don't think at the time. I don't know if now they allow it, but it wasn't allowed that you have a full time job and then just study to become a lawyer. So then I changed. I switched.
Yeah. That happened to me too in architecture. So I had a lot of time like studying. So like my studying is like 6 years of studying architecture. And during the architecture, it's like they tell you you can't work. Like literally, the D was like you can only work like 15 hours a week, and that's like stretching it or something like that. So it was very hard. Yeah. So some careers they expect you not to work.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, I'm not gonna be able to. It was kind of sad. But then I was like, I was like, I'll just do something else. I have to do something. Whatever I do something. And then I got into business administration, office system, office systems management. Because I wanted to also like, I wanted to be like a web developer and so many other things. So I went through a lot of like, I made decisions based on like what was happening. And then like I had to change career based on like what my lifestyle was at the moment.
That's so interesting because you kind of said the same thing of country shopping or city shopping when you wanted to move from New Jersey. So I think you approach life that way. It's like I have to experience certain things or a lot of things, and then I have this more call or intuitive like feeling, and it's like, okay, this is my place. Okay, this is my career, or I like the benefit of this, and a lot of people don't allow themselves to have that. So that was cool that you were able to get your feet in different careers and different trajectories.
I think it's survival for me because it was like it was I don't think I had the option to just be like, oh, whatever, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, right? I just thought that like I have to do something that is gonna provide for me, that's gonna bring me stability in the future. So whatever it is, I have to do a good job at whatever I do, and to the maximum level.
Yeah, and give your all. And so you live in the US and then you decide that you want to move from the US. Like, was there like something particularly that took you to be like, I want to explore other countries or other places and experience that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just life, you know. I had different things happen in my life that moved me in that direction. I had someone very close to me pass away, and then after that, COVID hit, and I was like, "What is this? This is unacceptable. Like, how can you be locked up for so long in Jersey?" For me, that was super boring, you know. And I was like, I can't live like this. I gotta find something different. But like I was thinking about moving to Barcelona in South Africa before COVID. So I think it's just like I was like, you know what? I am tired of the gray weather. I lived here for so long. I gotta go explore and see if I belong in a different country.
Yeah, and I mean, South Africa is so beautiful. Barcelona is so beautiful. So they're like near the water as well. So it seems like you're very attracted to the water.
Yes, I am. I always think about it. I'm like, I can't live anywhere that does not have water nearby. I love walking by the water and seeing, like, I don't know how violent the ocean can get or how calm it can get, and it just changes, you know. So for me, it's without it's not even. I don't even have to think about it because I lived in Jersey, and Jersey is has all these beaches surrounded by water, and so is New York. So for me it was like, I'm used to this. I cannot live in the Midwest, all land, you know. I do appreciate the stakes, but other than that, I'm like, I'm pretty much gonna get bored.
I lived in the Midwest. Yeah, you could get bored. I did visit a few lakes, but it's not the same. It is not the same. So, yeah, I feel the same. I love shores. But the issue with South Africa is the water is so cold. It's so hard.
I said I wanted to live next, like near the water, but I never said that I was gonna go in it.
That's a good clarification. I see water and I want to get in. So,
Okay, now you
yeah.
don't want to get into South African waters.
No,
Those
I
waves
did.
are way too.
I did. I did. I surfed. I swam with the penguins.
Wow,
I still went in, but yeah,
that's an experience. That's
part of
like
my
survival.
soul did stay in those waters, but I did go in the water.
Yeah, you're a trooper. You're definitely a fighter. You
The
were a water
waterfall.
war.
Thank you. Thank you. I love the water. My yeah, there's like a story that my mom said. Like we used to visit this Asian restaurant, and you know they have like very Pinterest like paintings of water. And I was very young, maybe 2, and she said that I saw one of their paintings on the wall. It was like a big painting for a 2-year-old. And I'm like, "Mom, water, water." And I start like taking my clothes off in front of everyone. I was gonna jump in
Wow.
the painting. Thank you.
Wow. That's
But
amazing.
yeah, I'm happy
It happens.
I'm happy she mentioned that because it's a good reminder. So what about now? So after all this, studying and career opportunities that you took on, you're like, yeah, I like this. I'm going to do that. What happened after that?
So once I moved to the Dominican Republic, I was still working in New York in the United States because so I was working in the United States, and I renovated my house. I built a second one, and I was thinking about opening a business. And I went through several different types of like categories of business that I wanted to get into. And for me, the one that made sense in the end uh, was real estate. So I decided that, well, before even that, I will just give you a little bit of history. So I was working in finance for a remittance company, like a global remittance company named Western Union. I was there for over 16 years. So I was just like, oh, I should have gotten out earlier. I was like, what am I doing? There's so much potential to do so many different things, and I'm not tapping into my potential. So then I was like, I am not gonna work anymore. I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna travel the world, and then I'm gonna like build my own business and this and that. And then I got terrified and scared, and a company reached out to me which is a global compliance advisement and technology company named ACA Global. And then I tried it out. And then I kind of felt like a cop out, like I should have just done that. And I was like, I don't know if this aligns with me. Either way, things didn't work out. And then I took a break a little bit to think. And then I was like, yeah, real estate makes sense for me. Why not? So I opened my own real estate company.
Yeah, that makes sense. It has like the sales part, but also has like you're basically selling the place you're living in because you believe in it, because you love it, because it's a place you want to share with more people, right? Like-minded people. And the opportunities there. You've built before, you've renovated your house. So it adds on to the experience of clients. Like you can walk them through all the things that you're going back to experience. You
Y-
really are seem like the person that has experienced something too.
Yeah, the pros and cons of, building your own home, renovating sounds like a simple thing to do, but it's super complicated in a country like this, especially Las Terrenas, which is like up the mountains. Or just to deliver goods and services are it could be a challenge, and also the terrain, not only the terrain, but like the weather. It could rain a lot sometimes, or it can be extremely hot. Those definitely have an impact on like the completion of a project or what you need to do or what kind of materials you can use. So that was a great experience for me. I learned a lot. And also, I met so many different people, right? Like you meet developers, interior designers, architects. I met you I actually met you at yoga class, but I remember you came to my house and you also, I was also considering working with you at the time.
Yeah. I was like, you were like, oh, I consulted with someone and I might need to knock this tree down. I'm like, no, you don't. No, you do not. You can
No.
leave these trees and you'll be fine. Yeah, I love consulting on projects because it's really about the information, because yes, it's easier to knock down trees or change the terrain or the landscape and all that because of all the reasons you just mentioned. But sometimes there is a common sense solution. And it's like, yes, it's going to be maybe a little harder to build, or maybe you won't have enough, like the space that you were expecting, like the square footage, but you will have, a 20, 30, 40, 50 year old tree that gives you shade, that, allows breeze, that all these, like, it gives you fruits. And so sometimes it's like logical, but sometimes, yeah, sometimes you do have to knock a few trees or,
No, but like I don't know if you remember, I actually had a concern about it because I wanted to preserve my trees. I wanted to preserve my avocado trees and my mango trees. For me, that was important. Yeah. So yeah, some of the plants that were cut out for me, like I literally was like crying. I was like, no, I don't want to see this.
yeah,
And so I ended up building around it, and
yeah.
I encourage people to do that. I think that's important.
That is so important. And the thing is also the land is very fruitful. So
You
like
know.
those plants or trees, if you replant them, I know they will come back. And, sometimes you can get mature trees, but it's very hard. It's
Yeah.
harder. So
I
like
mean, no,
very,
no, like you said, like a tree that's been there for like 50 years, that will hurt me to cut it. No, I don't know, like, because it takes years, for a tree to grow, 2 3 years for the tree to mature. And sometimes won't even get as big as they are now, some of them that's been there forever.
yeah, yeah. And another thing is because you go there also for the nature, like that's the thing that attracted you to that. Because yes, you're in New Jersey, there is like maybe a patio, there are trees on the streets, but it's not the same. And the truth is like your home, which I've visited before, it's very luxurious. It's surrounded by plants. You have like a fence of different type of plants and trees, and like it's just you're in a cocoon. And so, sometimes these plants, at least for me, they help you not feel alone or separate. It's like you're a part of something and you're protected as well.
Yeah. So when I when I leave the country and I go somewhere else, I don't feel I want to come back home right away because like I'm used to seeing so much beauty every single day and feeling the plants and the vibe that I'm like just counting the days of like when I can get back. Of course, I change my mind and I'm like, yeah, it's a short period of time, just get through this. But then I want to come back to my house and see and just be surrounded by my trees and
Yeah.
plants.
Yeah. And your dog and your pool and food.
Organic food that tastes delicious, right? Fresh every day. You know, coconut water from my own coconut tree.
Yeah.
I feel spoiled lucky. I mean, thank God for that, the universe, you know, because I feel blessed every day that I pick up like a chinola or a mango or avocado. It's just avocado season's almost coming close to an end. But oh, I ate avocado for like 2, 3 months straight every single day.
Yeah, from
It's
your own tree.
fantastic. Yes,
And like you
yes.
said, it's seasonal. It's seasonal.
It's
Even in a
seasonal.
tropical island, it's seasonal.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
And you
For me,
honor
like
that.
that's like wealth. If you're like live in a place where you can pick up things from your own backyard, from your own garden, that's wealth.
Beautiful. That's one of your values. Yeah. I
Yeah.
yeah. I think we forget that as humans. Like well you just mentioned a few, like I want to be near water. Now I have the privilege of having my own fruits and plants that surround me, and that's wealth for me. So like being clear with what is wealth or what's your value, I think that changes us
Yes.
and makes us happy. So building a new business on your own, how has that journey been for you?
Oh my God. It's been super exciting and it gives you like a jolt of energy that you have to get up every day and do certain things that can contribute to the success of the company. And also there's lots of anxieties and you question yourself, and every single day is a new day, and you also have to be super patient and motivated things that I would say test you when building your own brand and your own business, because now you're 1,000% responsible for everything that happens. So always to brainstorm and see how I can delegate things. And then I'm like, wow, this is what the CEO of the company was doing before. And I kind of feel like even in a smaller scale, I was doing the same thing, working for other companies that would contribute to my success. So now I get to apply those things, but then like also there are new skills that I'm learning and that I've learned throughout this whole process.
And then you realize like your capacity also has to grow, because to hold more people accountable, to hold yourself accountable, and then to hold other people around you, so it keeps functioning and working.
Yes,
It's
it
just like an
does.
oil machine.
It is. And I mean, the way that I have to structure myself on a daily basis is like, okay, I gotta do this and that for me. And then whatever I do also for the company is doing it for myself as well and for others. Because for me, like as I grow, the more opportunities I also can provide to other people.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I was thinking about like you also have to take care of yourself, and so I'm curious if you want to share a little bit of how you take care of yourself, um, to keep that energy up, and also to show up for yourself and the people around you, for your clients.
Well, I pretty much have kept the same I guess structure. It's a little bit different than before because now I make my own day every day. Like, I gotta be responsible for certain things. But it's still the same. I still get up super early in the mornings. I walk my dogs, then I go to the gym, I meditate. Sometimes I skip, obviously, but like I find some time throughout the day to meditate at least for 15, 20 minutes. 30 minutes. And I think that's what having that structure also keeps you grounded, right? Because I'm like, yeah, once I do this for myself, which I love doing, you know that, then I can do everything else. And also like supplements and the right foods to be able to keep myself sharp, right? Like eating walnuts and fatty foods so that it can contribute to the brain and it readjust things. That's also a big part of my life that I'm really proud about. And then after I get that done, then I work, and then I gotta be able to know when to stop. And that's the hard part sometimes because I can go on, but I have a limit. Like if it's 9 o'clock, I definitely have to stop. 9 o'clock at night, I have to be getting ready to go to bed. Oh, I can't hear you. The audio is not working.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because you're a business owner. So it's like not really a schedule. So you have to even force that schedule to yourself and have limits and be like, yeah, I need to go to bed because I wake up early. I have a routine. And so you structure your life around that. And so like that reminder constantly.
Yeah. And being in real estate, you can work 7 days. I was working 7 days about 2 weeks ago, right? And I was like, but the thing is, it doesn't feel like working to me because I'm like on my phone and people text me, ask me questions, or there's an email I must respond, or fix a little something on the website, or go on social media, make a post. So for me, it's like people are doing this and they're not building something. They're just scrolling, which I do scrolling sometimes. Obviously, we all do. But like, I'm like, at least I'm contributing to something that is gonna contribute to the future of this company, my future, and you know, to the success of the company. Those things, even though I'm working, I'm like excited about it. And sometimes I don't feel like working 7 days is a big job. Also, like working 7 days allows me more time throughout my days to allow kind of like a little bit of freedom for myself, because I think like you have to enjoy a little bit of every single day, like whether it's Sunday, Saturday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, it makes sense then the nature of your business to have to work on weekends because it's like a lot of people are working during the week until they have or the afternoon after work or weekends if they're traveling or so it makes sense that you have to work on weekends as well, but then you balance it during the
Always
week.
working, because like even like when I could be when I'm walking my when I'm at the beach, sitting somewhere at the beach, and someone wants to pet my dog, and they start asking me questions about Las Terrenas because they're visiting, and then I just get into it, and then they ask me, well, what do I do, how long I've been here, and they get to know me a little bit. I'm like, I'm in real estate, and they're like, okay, I would like to see some real estate. And like next thing you know, I'm like working. I'm working at the beach, wearing a bathing suit or shorts, whatever the case may be. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. I get to work in whatever attire I choose. It's amazing. Well, not all the time. When I have ticket clients, I do dress like, obviously
Yeah.
conservative. I'm not gonna be like
Yeah,
showing
no,
properties.
I understand because it's I used to get clients all the time in Las Terrenas uh, barefoot. I was literally barefoot, no phone on me because sometimes I would leave my phone at home and just walk through the path in Playa Bonita or in the sand. So I would leave barefoot without a phone because it was like my meditation time or my not disconnection. And I always end up like or meeting a new person that then becomes a friend or a business partner or refers me to someone. And so it's like so organic and so simple. And I would be consulting like a million dollar projects and I'm like, how? Barefoot with no phone on me.
Right? It's the best.
It's the best, yeah. Yeah, and I'm back in the East Coast, but I miss that. There's still magic happens, but it's very different. It's very different. Like
Yeah,
meeting
yeah.
people and connecting with others and socializing and and connecting based on like business wise. So
Well, being able to adapt to different environments is the key to success, to find happiness within. Doesn't matter, like when I go to New Jersey or New York or Massachusetts, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make the best out of this. Number one, who can, like, where are my friends? Number two, who do they know that can maybe contribute to, like, that may want to buy a home, or that may want to sell, because there are a lot of people in the United States that have property here and they want to sell it, or they need somebody to manage it, or vice versa. So like I try to maximize my time wherever I travel. Sometimes you may meet people on the plane and I'm like, I'm like doing business, I'm like, or talking about the environment, for example, you know
yeah, I realized that one of the things that have contributed with your business is like sustainability and, like you said, the environment, and that this all brought like a huge passion to you. And I'm wondering if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it's very easy to talk to people about sustainability. You already know I always talk to you about it. And like, if I meet a builder, architect, hey, I talk about like, hey, what can we use? What can you use to make this project sustainable, to build a better infrastructure, right? And what type of materials can be used? I'd like to talk about those things, and about like saving the trees that need to be saved, and why do you have to cut all that out and just like and just strip the land away when you can just like build around it. And maybe and it will give it more character, and like it will look different, and it will bring like, I don't know, like if I'm gonna buy something, I don't want to buy something that just is just pure concrete. I want to be able to have my house and see wood is very beautiful and things, and seeing the trees. And I don't know, I would think anybody, like you said, like as you mentioned before, anyone that comes here wants to be surrounded by nature. And that's my thing. Like I try to talk to people about it. Like, don't build this massive just cement structure. Make sure you plant all these trees and you leave the trees that need to be saved.
I really stopped like using a lot the word sustainability, or for me now it's just common sense. Let's find what's common in each project, or like what makes sense. Yes, the way you've built for years or the way you were taught to build is this way. But let's look at the land, let's study the land. Let's see where the wind comes, let's see where the sun sets, let's see the seasons of it, like what type of soil is there. And then look at the land. For example, it's like, oh, look at all the trees that are here, or the plants that are growing here, and look at the trees that are growing here or the plants that are. And then based on that, it's like, oh, there's more water flow on here, so maybe there's a stream underneath, or there's something. And we're all talking about just observing. And sometimes I'm not even in the land, I'm just looking at a floor plan, I'm looking at a Google Earth picture or something like that, and I already start meaning, okay, this is higher here, this is lower, so if it rains, the water is going to flow that way. That means you don't really have to flatten the space. And like, oh look, there's an opening here, there's not a lot of trees here, and it's barely flat. Okay, let's put the house there. All super simple, no earth movement, no trees knocked down. It's like, okay, this is kind of the size that we can put. It's a family of 3, 4, 5 people. They'll need, a certain criteria, certain functions, and then they can even have a guest house if they want here. And so it's like the land is informing you, apart from the client and their needs and their functions and why they're going to use the house. Because obviously everyone usually is a second property, or a vacation home, or an investment property. And so based on those criteria, you start plugging in information in the land. And so sustainability really is common sense.
It is common sense, but you'll be surprised. You would think, it's like, why didn't you think about that? And why is this so ugly? Like this structure here is just killing everything, killing the view of everything else, you know? So you think it would make sense, but like when people are so in tune into profit, they forget about the earth has given us as a gift, you know? And I think that people will be more profitable because it would attract more people to purchase certain type of properties if they're built the right way, and it keeps the natural beauty around it, because that's ultimately what brings people to this country, right? The beauty of the nature, not just the beaches, just having like 4 coconut trees, 4 or 5 avocado trees, 4 mango trees, lime, this and that, in your own home. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a big home. It could be just a
Mhm.
small space, you know, like you just have 600 square meters, 650, whatever. Or you could just have, yeah, you could just have a huge property, and then like, for me, a smaller property with tons of fruits and vegetables and, well, chickens on the side and goats. Oh yeah, it's like exciting.
I was talking to another architect. She's somewhere else in the U.S. and we were talking about the sizes of homes that even in Tennessee, I think it was that, or yeah, it doesn't really matter. Like it could be New Jersey or in the suburbs. Like sometimes it's, if you really want, let's say, wood in your home, but the budget doesn't really allow it, you make the house smaller, and then you can put all the finishes you want. And it's like, that is genius. That is genius, because we're always thinking about more and having and it's like, wait, but if you really value having, high end quality, or maybe not even high end, but quality furniture, quality materials, or better finishes, then simply make your house smaller. And then you can create all the
You
things
can
that you
make it
value.
more affordable, make it smaller, and then you have more of a beauty outside your home, right? Because who wants to
Exactly.
be stuck? Who wants to be stuck inside the house all the time, like in a warm climate? Only when it's like July or August, maybe. Ramp up your air conditioning bill,
Yeah.
your electricity bill.
And that's where the trees come in. They give you shade. They allow.
Yes, yes. Yeah, because you know what? When I go to certain places, for example, in Punta Cana that don't have enough trees, I'm like, okay, it's really hot here. And then I look around and it's like, yeah, that's because there's no trees. Like, and then like I come back to Las Arenas, and I'm like, wow, it's much cooler in certain places because it's surrounded by a lot of trees.
Yeah, and I learned this because it's also another factor that comes into it. It's not only the trees, but it's the movement of the land. So once you start changing like the soil, so it's not only what's above the soil, but underneath the soil that keeps a certain moisture in the air, so contributes to a lot of things. So there's like little factors. And so when they build, specifically in Dominican Republic, they change the soil, or they compact, more like a structural sand, or we call it caliche, but it's really about structure and about like flattening the space, and it's easier to build and it's structurally more sane. But the thing is, they fill the whole land with that. And so the earth in that specific area is not used to it. So the whole microclimate starts, you change a whole climate if you start doing that everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. So there's like a lot of simple things that are contributing to that change, because Punta Cana years ago, it wasn't that hot. But the more they build, the more they change. It changes everything.
Yeah, I would assume. I don't know Punta Cana back then as much. I mean, I've been to the resorts, obviously.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
then like now it's, yeah, a different story, a different environment.
Yeah, yeah. And I fear that a lot. Like, it's okay not to fear, because the earth is such a beautiful
Like it restores itself and it's changing, and then it forces us to change. So we are changing it, but then because
Yeah.
of that change, it makes us change. So there's a lot of changes, not only like, society based or governmental or all of these things. There's also the earth. So we're constantly in change, even if we are aware or not. And those are the little changes. In Dominican Republic specifically, they are in many places in the earth. It's like the more you build, it brings economy, or at least that's how they see it, because of the systems we have now put in
Yeah,
place.
right. It brings economy. Less is more.
Less is more. Less
More
is
is
more.
less, but less is more when it comes to like preserving nature, right? I think it makes wanna maybe build a little bit less, and then like the value goes up because you have all these resources. You're not only just saving the trees, but you're saving also um the the ecosystem, the entire ecosystem, the animals, the plants, the pollinate, the birds that pollinate back and forth, and the bees. Don't want to talk about the mosquitoes; those can stay away. But certain type
And
of
you
species.
and you also spend less money, so you have more money to invest in other things that are probably more important.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to share with us today?
Oh, so many things. I don't think there's anything specific that I want to share, but there are so many things that I just want to do right now. So, like for me to share something, what I can share is about the love I have for business. That's a passion. And, what I've learned about like how people look at brokers, real estate companies, and agents. And I see like sometimes I come across people that don't value them. And then I come across people that are like, thank you, thank you. I really believe in you that you're going to help me. Because when you think about like how important it is for someone, well, to sell the house. So let's say you want to sell your house because you want to buy another one. You have a different dream now. Things have evolved, or someone got pregnant. They're gonna give birth, and you need a bigger home, or something happened. You need a smaller space for like someone that's retiring, and how you're helping these people with their personal decisions that are so close and dear to themselves. They've been living in a home for many, many years. They've decorated it the way they wanted. They built it the way they wanted. And now they are having to face a challenging decision of like, I have to sell. And then you got to come across and you're like literally like a savior for that, because it's a consultation. You're gonna let them know what is best to promote the sale of the home and this and that, and what can they improve, and also help them finalize that challenge, get that load off their shoulders, because it's a lot to be able to learn at home and deal with other people that are going to come into your personal space to see your house. And then like the buyer as well, being able to learn about the things they don't know because they have not lived in certain areas of a certain town. And you got to get deep into like what's best for them. And sometimes sometimes someone has a dream, but they don't realize that like maybe that area is not so good for you. I think this is more in line with what you're what you're looking for. So it's almost like a consultation, like an education as well for all parties involved. And yeah, and I forgot what the point of that was, because I got deep into all the details. I can
I
talk about
know.
real estate for years. I can just sit here and literally talk your ear out about all the little things that goes along with um real estate. There's so many details: legal aspect, contractual aspect, negotiations, this and that.
I really like the points that you mentioned, or the types of clients, or the type of reasons why they would buy or sell or rent a property or need management. Because the same, imagine if you, this is your second home, or you have to move countries, but you really don't want to sell that property. So you need a management company, or you need a realtor that you trust, and you can, hey, can you show this property for me because I'm not able to? Or like you mentioned that situation, if you live there, you're going to have strangers coming in and out all the time. But if you trust the person like you, and also schedule it, right? Because you create like a little structure around it. It's like, yeah, only Fridays, for example, I'm going to have people or whatever coming to your home. And then you help them through that process, and then they can plan, and then you can plan on your end. So yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes that people don't see. And that's very nice that you do that. And obviously it comes from a place of passion, and because you believe in it, and you believe where you live, and you want other people to live in that wealth.
Yes. Is there anything that you think I should share?
I think that it's so interesting because there's a lot of things I didn't know about you and that you shared today. So it's so nice to be able to know more about you through this medium, and
Right.
actually ask questions that I would probably never ask you. Mainly about your business. I wouldn't ask you a lot of questions about that.
Mainly about what? You cut
Your
out a little bit.
business. Your business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I know that you are very, like your name, you're a god, and
Oh,
at work, and then you're also beautiful. And so like, I love that. I love that I was able
thank,
to know more, even the meaning of your name.
thank you. Yeah. And I got to learn. I know there was something like related to beauty, but I just, all the other details I was not sure about. So yeah, thank you for searching that and clarifying that. And yeah, likewise, me too. I feel like I also learned about you, and I love what you're doing right now with the podcast and having people open and talk about sustainability and about like work and what got you to certain places. It's for me a pleasure to share that with you, and you're so dear to my heart, so I appreciate that.
Thank you. You too. You too. I'm very blessed. You've helped me a lot too, and just being around you, it's an inspiration. It's always an inspiration. We saw each other this year in the East Coast, in New York and New Jersey, both.
New
So
Jersey and New York,
New
did we
Jersey.
meet here? New
No,
Jersey.
no, New Jersey. New
Yeah,
Jersey.
just New
Wow. That's
Jersey.
so interesting.
Yeah, we
That's so
scheduled New
interesting.
York and ended up in Jersey.
Yeah.
You never know with me. Could have been
You know.
Connecticut or Massachusetts somewhere.
I know. And you went to visit one of our friends, and I was like, oh my God, I would have joined you if I knew
Yeah.
you. So,
I'm like,
yeah,
I'm already in the Northeast. Let me do a North America tour. The Ingrid North American tour.
that's so cool. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for coming in and being brave enough to share this space with me. And I know this is not the beginning, but something of many, many more collaborations.
Yes, you will. And I look forward to doing that because I respect your work
Thank you.
and what you're doing, and also your personality, your beauty. You're like,
Oh,
that come and it's just so close to me. It's like a friendship that needs to be celebrated, between you and I.
thank you. Thank you so much. Space Whispers. Thank you for spending time with me today. Your host, Rainy, on the Space Whispering podcast. I hope today's episode gave you something to reflect on, inspire you, or energize you to create something beautiful. Help us grow this soulful community and spread the love by subscribing to the podcast, leaving a review, or sharing this episode with your community. If you're feeling called to transform your inner or outer spaces into a true reflection of you, let's connect. Schedule a discovery session with me at rainy.co or Instagram rainy_. What soulful actions will you take today? Keep listening to the whispers of creation and let your soul's magic flow into the world. See you soon. Besitos.